I'd like to call the meeting to order and open with the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Horn.
Yes.
Underwood.
Here.
Gilman.
Yes.
Chasm.
Present.
Lehman.
You have an agenda in front of you with one blue sheet of dishes.
I would move that we approve the agenda with the addition of item L, consideration of written communication from council.
Support.
Okay, motion by Gilman, support by Chasm. Any other further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
A conflict of interest? A conflict of interest. Okay. Public comment. Is there anyone who would like to speak to us in public comment? Okay, Charlie will read a rule, sir, and.
You go first.
Okay.
Any person may make an advanced appointment with the board regarding road commission topics for a regular or special meeting in accordance with the Open Meetings Act. If an appointment is made, the topic will be an agenda item. The following applies to public comment. Please state his or her name and township or district. Topic must be relevant to the road commission. Individuals are allowed to speak once for up to 3 minutes on a single topic, which may be extended by the chair. A group addressing the board requires a designated spokesperson who may speak up to 10 minutes, and the board will not act on any item from the public that is not on the agenda.
Hi, I'm Joe Carter. I reside at 2674 3 Mile Road North with my wife Kathy. I'm here today in support of the 3 Mile Trail Extension Phase 2 and to encourage the Road Commission to approve serving as the Act 51 applicant to the TAP grant. Just a little background. I've been involved quite a lot with public meetings. I used to run the Public Access Center, governmental process channel. What used to be 98?
Yeah.
It's been a while.
I was on your committee for a while.
But that's what brought me to Traverse City 15 years ago. We've purchased the home probably more than 10 years ago, my wife and I and our dog, and love living on 3 Mile. Was glad to see the Grand Traverse Regional Land Conservancy become our neighbor. I have a personal trail that connects to their trail system. I'm very active outdoors. Today I skied 5K with a visually impaired skier. My wife, post-stroke victim, is also an avid outdoors person and walks. We cannot walk in our neighborhood. Yeah, I can break trail to get to the Conservancy property. My wife cannot. So every day, including today, she just got home, she gets in her car, and she drives to either the Civic Center or neighborhoods adjacent to downtown to walk the dog and to walk herself. This trail extension is going to give us a chance to walk our neighborhood, to be able to walk to Roy's or up to the retail center on Hammond and 3 Mile, but to go to the Conservancy, jump on my bike if I want, and go wherever on the TARP trail. You guys did a great job in flattening 3 Mile. It used to be a roller coaster, as I'm sure you're all aware. This is the first winter where I haven't seen a slide off yet this year. So great job on the 3 Mile flattening. However, it's become a dragway. And I can tell you, I still ride my bike along that shoulder. It's wider now, but I'm more afraid now than I was before you fixed it. Again, I'm so happy that you fixed it. My house does not bounce when semis go by. But this extension, this TARP trail extension, is going to make that neighborhood, and the neighborhood's growing. We've got multi-unit developments coming in on Hammond and the 3 Mile area by the fire station. Of course, the one on 4 Mile in Hammond is well underway. I sit here pounding when I'm out in the trails. I can hear, carpenters working. So please support that TARP grant application. I really would appreciate it. I think it's going to make for a great improvement and help us get around more easily. Thank you.
Thank you. No one else?
Good evening. My name is Claire Carner. I'm the planning director with East Bay Township, and just wanted to state that East Bay Township is super excited to be the applicant for the TAP application for phase 2 of the Chart Trail. The phase 2 is a critical link. We've got, as you know, we submitted the phase 1 through with the Lincoln, or with the Road Commission serving as the Act 51 agency. We were able to secure funding, and we're moving forward with that, looking to construct in 2027. We also, at the other end of phase 2, we have been successful in securing funding for the Safe Routes to School. And so we've got construction slated for that in this June of 2026. So we have these two bookends that we're moving forward with construction, and we're really excited about this one missing link, which is the phase 2 of the 3 Mile Trail extension. This link will link, as Joe so eloquently mentioned, the residents with the Land Conservancy property, with the 4 schools, with the neighborhoods, and we really are seeing growing neighborhoods. We're seeing more and more residents along Hammond, kind of in that the East Bay Corners vicinity, that are going to be using this trail system. We hear again and again through our master plan survey and through other community outreach that there's a strong desire for residents to have access to trails out their back door. And so I think this is really exciting. There's a lot of community support around this, and we are excited to partner with the Commission on that application. The other thing I'll just mention is that the township is fully prepared for the maintenance component of that. So we will be taking the lead on the maintenance of the full trail system, as well as the Safe Routes to School. That was part of our grant agreement. We're appreciative of Chart for doing so much of the fundraising. And so we've set aside part of the budget, and the fundraising that we're doing is setting aside $500,000 for the long-term maintenance of that trail system. So I too very much appreciate 3 Mile Road. I drive it every day. But also we are excited to get people off of the road on a safe and accessible trail system. So thank you very much for your consideration.
Thank you, Claire. Next.
Good evening. My name is Jane Forath. I live at 1169 Gold Court in East Bay Township. And I also teach at East Middle School. And thank you very much for your time tonight. I'm here to speak in support of the 3 Mile Extension Phase 2 and to respectfully, ask the Road Commission to serve as the Act 51 applicant for the TAP grant, as you did for Phase 1. East Bay Township and the project partners are taking responsibility for the project work, including paying for engineering and coordination and providing the required local match for construction funding. And it sounds like for maintenance as well. My understanding is the Road Commission's role is to serve as the Act 51 applicant and provide basic oversight as the pass-through agency. From my perspective as a teacher and a parent, this project is about safety. People walk around 3 Mile right now, and they're doing it without a protected space, and the corridor is frankly dangerous as is. We live close enough to Cherry Knoll in East Middle School that walking or biking should be a normal option, but right now it's just not safe for our kids. It also doesn't feel safe for families or anyone that's walking along that road. I'm asking for your help to change that. This is also a straightforward financial decision. This is a federal grant program, and if we don't apply here, the funding will be spent somewhere else. Approving this application brings outside dollars into our community, supports local construction jobs, helps the local tourism economy, and results in the long-term safety improvements that benefits residents, students, and visitors. I respectfully encourage you to approve serving as the Act 51 applicant for the 3 Mile Extension Phase 2 TAP application. Thank you for your consideration and time tonight.
Anything else?
Hi, I'm Jill Sill. I live at 329 Hamilton Street, Traverse City. So I am an avid user of our trails and our roadways and paths, and also the executive director at Norte Youth Cycling. And I'm here tonight to publicly support the resolution for the second 3 Mile TAP application. Last fall, I heard a leader describe the difference between projects that were ornamental and instrumental.
And that's really stuck with me. And that's kind of a lens I use to look at things now. Is this ornamental? Is it performative? Or is it instrumental towards future intentional lasting change? The 3 Mile Trail is unquestionably instrumental. It provides essential infrastructure that creates a safe opportunity for more than 4,000 students to walk and bike to school. By providing separation from the roadway, the trail offers safe, accessible walking and biking connections away from the traffic. And that is a big barrier for a lot of people that I talk to. They're not comfortable riding right on the road. Cars are going fast. So that separation improves accessibility and comfort level. This alone will increase use and safety while serving people of all ages and abilities. So this just isn't about the 4,000 students in this Hammond Corners. It's for people of all ages and abilities. Communities that are accessible and connected are happier, healthier, stronger, and more desirable places to live. This project removes barriers, increases accessibility, and provides everyone safe, confident ways to move through our community. I did hear on a Zoom recently that the farmers market that is right here is the best kept secret, but I heard it on a Zoom, so the secret is out. But this area is really growing. It is becoming desirable. We know that. If we can put the proper infrastructures now, that will support the growth and the safety of this region. At Norte Cycling, we see firsthand how intentional infrastructure expands participation, physical activity, and social connections. We are poised and ready to deliver the programming that will educate, empower, and connect our communities to these transformative resources. So it's really 2 things. We need the, acquire the property. We need the infrastructure. It needs to be maintained properly. But without that last component of people and education, you're missing a portion. And that's where Norte and TART and other community partners can come in and help people understand how to use these new pathways and trails and how to enjoy them safely. So I encourage the Road Commission to support this request and help move this important work forward. Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay. We'll move on to appointments. We have Jeff. Here, first one is 6:05. Pretty good.
That's right. Hello, Jeff Hockfield with Grand Traverse Engineering. Thank you for your time. I'm here tonight to, introduce a project that I started working on at the north end of Zimmerman Road in Garfield Township. I'm not sure if there's a graphic going up on the screen here or not, but there's a vacant 20 acres up near the Lone Tree development that extends north of the Zimmerman Road turnaround, I guess is what we'll call it. I think I didn't bring a board. It's basically this, if you haven't seen it. The developer is interested in, 2 things: getting feedback from the board on this infamous extension of Zimmerman Road up to Harris. Garfield Township mentions it every time we go in there. It's like, well, you gotta go talk to the Road Commission board. They want to extend Zimmerman. So I guess we're looking for some feedback on the temperature of that, if it's a real goal, a real plan, what's the timing on it. And then second of all, some feedback on this temporary snow turnaround that encompasses that turnaround. I know you use that for snow removal and truck movement. It does encumber a couple of the units there on that southeast corner of the proposed project. So I guess we'd like some feedback also on your willingness to remove that if the project were to be approved at Garfield Township and move forward. So that's really it. I'm just here to answer questions and also hopefully get some feedback on, what you could tell me about this Zimmerman Road extension.
Yeah, we have met with Garfield Township and it's been on our corridor improvement list for at least a couple years in the forefront. It's been lingering since I think in the 90s. We would very much like to extend Zimmerman Road from North Long Lake Road through to Harris. And we understand it'll take the pressure off the North Long Lake Road corner there. And it's it's in, Garfield has spoken to us about it. We've proposed to them to work with us to get this done. They had some initial discussions with the previous developer who decided not to pursue the property.
Right.
The road commission is very interested in it's probably one of the most critical areas of access that we can provide and connectability. We want to connect things that are laying around loose for whatever reason that weren't done 50 years ago. And that's really high on our list. So working with.
So I think ideally, now here's a feedback. I think ideally, if perhaps you could assist us in this way. We have the people who own the property to the east. We would need a slight slice of that action there, and we'd probably wind up straddling the power lines in a boulevard kind of way, but then that would take us through to Harris where it goes up. Ultimately, they own both that property and then the property to the north. So this is the same LLC that owns it. I'll bet they'd love to have that road disappear between their properties. And we'd like to, from a safety standpoint, I think we'd like to close that road that goes on to North Long Lake at that location, and then instead have that throughput. If we could pull it all together, it'd be a great deal for everybody involved. A win-win-win, I think.
Well, my client is very open-minded. Though they're not digging their heels in and saying, no, we don't want this. There's some challenges that you mentioned a couple of them. The power lines, there's some large transmission and electric lines there. I don't know if straddling them and laying on each side really, that encumbers our property quite a bit and could create some issues for these eastern units that we're proposing. What to me makes sense is straddling the east property line, doing 33 feet on the property to the east.
33 feet on the
property. And my client is like, if we have to help out and work with 33 feet, that's fine. And I think I kind of hatched an area in on the drawing.
Have you had any discussions with those property owner, that other property owner?
To the east?
Yeah, to the east.
Not yet. Wanted to kind of get a feel from you guys first of where you were at timing.
Because I think ideally anything that we do is going to wind up involving them too.
Oh yeah.
And we haven't been rushing in to make this Zimmerman extension, though it makes a lot of sense.
And straddling the property line lines it up better with the Harris Road.
Absolutely.
Versus coming in and then having a bunch of weird, T's in there and whatnot. So the other, complication is as you get close to Harris, there's a big hole there, a big, valley that's going to need a lot of earthwork. So
not like we haven't built a bunch of that.
So it's going to be a lot of dirt, just so you guys know.
Yeah.
Aren't you digging a bunch of holes for houses?
Yeah, right.
We're going to need that dirt for our own hole.
Oh.
So as feedback, does anybody have anything else they want to input? We could direct Jeff to work with us. You should enter into discussions with our staff to see if we can't make this happen.
I met with Dan and Chris early in the year and kind of introduced this to them, and Dan's like, well, you need to go talk to the board, so that's why I'm here. So if it's okay with you, I'll continue to work with staff and kind of come up with some ideas. And
we like contingencies.
Pardon me?
We like contingencies. Bring a plan to us that works for everybody.
Okay. And if we move forward with Garfield and Garfield approves the project, I guess the other feedback I'm hoping to hear is you'd be willing to extinguish that turnaround easement or no?
We can't.
I think these are very premature.
Yeah.
At this point, I think it's premature.
Yeah.
We have to see what's in the best interest of the road commission. I'm not willing to commit us to anything right now to giving up any easements or any of our property interests until we see a plan and if it's a feasible plan.
if we could make a good compromise,
Yeah, we're willing. to-
let's work toward that.
Yeah,
Well, I mean, I guess yeah, I have a plan right here, and I'm not asking for a commitment. I'm asking for, again, feedback that if this plan were to move forward and we can work out some type of maybe another turnaround situation, Hammerhead T or whatever, versus a large cul-de-sac turnaround, if you will, easement, or if the extension to Harris, works out for everybody. Is the board willing to consider that? I'm not asking for a commitment, it's just open-mindedness, I guess.
I think our interest would be as long as we are able to continue our operations in a safe and effective manner, then sure, we will
Okay.
consider those alternatives.
Perfect.
I did want to point out one thing, if you don't mind, Al. Years ago, I was involved in the original PUD here, so I just wanted to point out something that some people might not know. I'm going to use the map, because I'm a map nerd. They know that. So we're talking about punching through the road to Harris, which makes sense. And then Jason had referenced removing that section because it would, make more sense. But the original discussion at Garfield Township was actually removing this section, which would mean a direct shot up North Long Lake Road to a 90-degree intersection at Harris and Zimmerman. And there are no residential driveways off of this section other than some guy just built a lovely RV garage house, but there could be things made because really that driveway is only like 50 feet from the intersection. So the concept was to get rid of this dangerous curve right here at the same time that we improve the connectability, but with 90-degree angles. Then you would have those 90-degree angles at Bo Zimmerman. So just when you guys are talking, just consider the original idea. And I don't know, John Syke wasn't with the township then, but he may be aware of the discussions back when Rob Larea was the planner. But consider really opening up your mind and how we could connect our roads better in this safer manner. I live near here. And I will tell you how often I see cars that go off the road because they miss that turn. The idea of being able to make it straight up the hill, it gives people the ability to accelerate up the hill and not have to do a quick. So just a thought on that. But 100% the road should go to Harris Road. I mean, that isn't even and as you probably know, representing a developer, the original PUD had the developer chipping in for 25% of the road costs. So,
This particular 20, I don't think is part of the PUD anymore.
It's not,
Yeah.
because once there was the sale, there was the change when Brookside Commons had their change. I'm just saying the original concept of the township in partnership with the road commission back in the early 2000s was Brookside Commons, as you know, Woda Group paid for Zimmerman and the circle we're talking about. That was part of their PUD. And then the indication then was that at that time, another developer was interested and would complete it. And we would have had this punch through, 15, 20 years ago. So just, there's a lot of people that are good at planning and development and design and engineering, and they're going to be in a room together. If you could just consider the original concept. It really had a well thought out plan behind it. And we didn't even have, the high volume of Long Lake Road in front of the high school. Yeah, transient. But taking out that really sharp turn, I think that Jason's correct. I think the farm used to be a Christmas tree farm or whatever. I think they would love to get rid of one of those, but just open up your mind to getting rid of the actual other part and allowing us to keep the straight roads.
Right, that's more like the thing is we want to do is encourage you to work with us to get this Zimmerman extension done.
Sure.
And we're very open to it. Not setting any exact rules now, but we would like that to happen. It's we've met with Garfield. Chris is here from Garfield. It's on their approved list. We're committed to that if we can, and Garfield Township already is also.
Okay. Maybe a future meeting with staff and John Syke from the township, kind of brainstorm.
Yeah. Chris. Yeah. Yes. Be great.
Okay. Any other questions for me?
No. I think we're good.
Thanks, Jeff. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Okay, Chris, you're next.
Yep. The Olson Development. All right, good evening. I'm Chris Hardship. I'm the manager of Garfield Township. Thank you for putting us on your agenda. Also with me tonight is Brad Olson with the Olson Foundation. So after I speak a little bit, if you have some questions for me, you can ask me and then he's available as well. So we've been working with Mr. Olson and the Olson's Foundation for seems like a year now or longer regarding a development he's doing at the corner of Rennie School Road and 31. KFC, if you're traveling south at the end on the west side of the road, big open field. That was just recently rezoned to be a mixture of uses, industrial, commercial, and multi-family residential. And Garfield would like to see a road run right down the middle of the development to add value to it and also connectivity, and just to improve the quality of that development. The developer, Mr. Olson, and the Olson Foundation has committed to building the road to Class A road specs. I'm not an engineer. I don't know what that involves, but something that is of high quality and will probably last a lot longer than one that is a B or C quality. So he is committed to doing that, but also in our conversation, wondered if the road commission would be willing to take over that road after it's built. Be responsible for potential future maintenance, and plowing snow, whatever it would take to maintain that over the course of time. In your packet, there's a letter that our supervisor actually penned on behalf of our board. It explains all of the reasons why we, as a township, feel like it would be in the best interest of the development and the community for the road commission to take it over. A couple things just to highlight. You talked about connectivity tonight. That will allow a connection between Meadow Lane Drive and Rennie School Road. For public safety, seems like on 31 South, you got a multi-lane road. There's always frequent crashes. It allows the ability for cars to be routed around a crash on a county road versus a private development. And also, if you think about it, instead of people on Meadow Lane having to turn north on 31, I personally would take the time to drive south to Rennie School.
Absolutely.
Right. So it improves the safety significantly. And then I think also, you would know better than me, but my limited knowledge of road commission operations is it allows you to conduct business off of a busy road. If you have to turn your plows around, if you have to perform maintenance on Meadow Lane Road, you get down to Rennie School, you don't have to go on to 31. So I think there's a lot of benefits for the road commission to consider taking that over. I know there's a concern about maintenance and not having enough in our budget to maintain the roads that we have. The township and former Supervisor Corn's leadership has created a partnership with the road commission and showed that there's a priority of contributing to the cost of maintaining county roads. And we also, for this year, budgeted a significant amount of money to continue that commitment. So although today I can't say, in 15 years, we're going to be willing to do something with that road, I sure hope that this commitment will continue for quite some time because we think it's a priority. So I'm just here for you to consider our request and talk amongst yourself. I don't know what the process is to do something like that, but please consider it. I think it'll be of value to the community, the broader community and the Olson Foundation development. So with that, if you have some questions, Mr. Olson and I'd be glad to answer them.
Want to start somewhere?
Do you know if this is a platted development or is it meets and bounds?
I cannot answer that.
Okay. Do you know who can?
It's meets bounds. I know your property.
It says it's meets and bounds.
Yeah, meets and bounds.
I did them once upon a Chuckles job. So, I know.
Is Meadow Lanes, is that in our?
It's our road.
It's our road.
Yeah.
Okay. That was a primary concern because if we're going to be using it to bust around, it really needs to be.
Makes sense to all be county, correct?
Right.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, and we had this discussion before. We've talked about this before, and maybe I asked that at that time too.
I think that this is the question maybe for Dan. Is a Class A road, does it meet our standards?
Yeah, Class A actually allows during like frost laws, they can actually drive heavy trucks on there. So it looks like the Cherryland that's looking at building there, so they're gonna be driving heavy trucks. They're gonna need a Class A road to get up to the highway. So it definitely needs to be a Class A road.
Dan, if we were to take this over, does it improve our ability
to service, remove snow, change things around? Do we know?
It adds more for us to plow, but also anytime you start to establish, a grid pattern of roads, I think it's a positive thing. One thing I would recommend if we're considering this, we're big in doing the chip seals immediately right after.
Right.
Fix down the road.
Thanks,
So
Keith.
if they were to build the road to a class A standard and to, maybe put it in a dowry or something of chip sealing it, the following year, that we know.
It buys that
Yeah.
extra time.
We know that road's gonna be in, good shape for quite some time.
I have a question on the timeline. So I understand the ask. I understand that the ask is for us to take over the road. Is there some kind of, the road won't be built if we aren't willing to take it over? Like, is there an A and a B and we're the A?
I think we're requiring him to put that in for the development.
That's what I
approval.
thought.
Yeah,
Okay.
and I believe once the snow melts, he'd like to install it and start developing it out, but I'll let you speak to that.
Yeah, we've already received bids back. We're starting that, when frost laws are over. I requested it be a class A road, just it's gonna be light industrial, guys, and, I have multiple businesses like the boat companies and stuff. They'll be able to access this road and not running out on the highway with a boat with the trailer on it and stuff like that. That being said, yes, it's class A road by the county specs, what we've received from you guys. We are starting fall and plan on being done by, December of this year.
Okay.
So
I'm sorry,
Go ahead.
but just as a follow-up, what's the timeline then? I'm not really familiar with our process on this. When do we take over road? Like, is the ask that he completes construction and then it comes before our board to take over a road? Do we do that before he?
Well, that was kind of
Okay.
related to the question
Yeah,
I had was that, from my standpoint, my concern is I don't think we want to take on roads without some understanding of what the traffic volume on those roads would be. And I don't know, and of course, we won't have that until the road is built and we have a certain period of time, because we can take the road over into our system at any point.
So even prior to construction?
I don't know if we can.
Okay.
Technically, we can,
Okay.
but I wouldn't really be in favor of that.
Okay.
But if we're gonna,
Yeah.
if we're gonna ask for chip seal after it's constructed like we do on a regular road, we want to have an agreement before.
Yeah, we don't have a policy
Though,
of
right?
when we would take over roads.
Right.
And we'd like to have one. Connectivity is a big deal to me.
Mhm.
This is a perfect example of something we should be accepting, and I've said that before. Accepting subdivisions willy-nilly that have dead ends and turn around, and it doesn't fit the overall. But this is a real, it's gonna be a nice corridor in there, and I think we need to have a policy to accept those. My feeling is I would like the board to say we're willing to do this. Garfield, our partner, would like us to accept it. And when it's built to our standard, we would like to review the design before it's started. And you probably have plans already, I think. So we would like a final review of that to make sure there isn't something we missed. And then I would like to see us, Dan mentioned a condition after construction, and maybe we could have an escrow for that or something for next year. And then you probably wouldn't do anything with that road for quite a long time.
You were going to say something about the traffic. Do you anticipate like what volumes you would have?
no, I couldn't tell you that. I do know, I mean, we all understand with Meadow Lane being there, there's gotta be a ton of residents in there and I could see them very much going, oh, I'm in.
Running through the
I'm
road
using
has
that.
the light. I mean, this.
Second of all, we are working, my engineers, Prince Lawn Engineering has been submitting stuff. I do not know what they've submitted to, but I can't believe they have not submitted everything to you guys.
And Cherryland is going to have the headquarters there. I
Yes.
understand. and then you're building, multifamily residential housing.
Back in that,
2 acres.
back in the west corner is high density residential. And that'll have 2 access drives, one on the north-south road and one off of Meadow Lane is my thought process. I'm just starting that
Okay.
third phase now.
Well,
Oh, excuse me, let me back up too. There sounds like to the west of me is going to be more development sooner or later, and I'm actually putting in that subdivision access road, so there will be a cut through in someday in the future on the Silver Lake Road.
well, I'm from my standpoint, I think conditional approval is I think we could definitely work with it. And frankly, it does serve the public interest. Meadow Lane has a lot of people in there. And as you note, I mean, we're talking development, both light industrial and even further large scale housing potential. So if we could come to some kind of agreement, I think it'd work well for us. As you say, you know, to build the road, maybe, you know, the 30-year road, you know, that's what it's going to be. Following year, spray the top of it and make it fresh, and then it should last well beyond my lifetime anyway. So,
Do we need a motion on that? Does somebody want to make a motion to
direct
the staff to
make a motion to direct staff to work with
the
the Olson Foundation in Garfield Township on an agreement that they can bring to the board for final approval.
I'll second.
I just want to point out that when developers help build roads, we really love it. I might be looking back in the corner, but it's a no-brainer. The taxpayers don't spend $1 and we get a brand new asset in our road system
And
that
liability.
helps connectivity. It's fabulous. Yeah.
And that's the reason I built it Class A. I'm not building stuff to have it last 10 years. I don't do that. That's not my playbook.
carry? Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Well, obviously, there's nobody. Okay, we're in. Okay, make it happen.
Thank you so much. I worked with Manager Watkins and I appreciate
Thanks,
your
Fred.
support. Yeah,
Thank you, Chris.
Yep, thank you, Brett. Right. Next is Ginger Smith from TCAPS.
I'm gonna hang out up there. Have a bunch of things. Go ahead. But you and you can both even down that.
Good evening. Again, I'm Ginger Smith and I represent Traverse City Area Public Schools. And part of my job is submitting grant applications on behalf of the district. And I have been working with Garfield Township and would like to also partner with the Grand Traverse Road Commission to apply for over $300,000 in the Safe Routes for School major grant to provide a safe crossing on Silver Lake Road near the vicinity of Wyatt Road, which is right there by the YMCA. This would provide better crossing access for our students at West Middle School. And in order to submit an application, a resolution from the Road Commission is required. Although it does not approve a design, construction, or funding, it does authorize us to submit a grant. And without it, our community is not eligible to apply. If funding were awarded, of course, we would take all the engineering and traffic studies and final plans back to you at that time for review and approval. My original goal and hope was to be able to submit for the February 18 deadline to Safe Routes to School. That would allow for us to be part of their April review with their funding decisions being made the end of July. I do know that that might not line up with, the work you all do and need to proceed. So I do want to let you know that the next window would be a deadline of June 17, which reviews in August, but does not provide a funding decision until November, middle of next November. We do require a formal Act 51 agency to submit this application. And unfortunately, the timelines are months and months apart from one another. So I am seeking your direction and your approval. I am new to doing a Safe Routes to School grant. It's very all consuming in terms of all the different players that are at the table with it. But we've had a lot of support from community partners who have helped us do student traffic count near the vicinity of West Middle School. We've had different volunteers come to perform the pedestrian counts. We've done parent surveys, student surveys. We pretty much have everything in line to submit should we be able to get a resolution from you. So with that, I am happy to attempt to answer questions. I just don't make them too difficult because as I said, I'm very new to this.
Joe, I have a question for Dan. Dan, what's our traffic count on that road? Because it's gonna lead to my next comment.
Got my ability to do it.
Give me a minute.
My email.
Um,
As he's looking that up, the reason I'm asking is because it's very logical to take your trail down to the light that is presently there, because that will be the safest place for somebody to cross the road. Because we can improve the light area to allow people to cross. When you're going to try to cross in a road that has several thousand vehicles a day, you will create traffic problems, and it is probably not the safest place in the world to cross that road.
I do know that safety is absolutely the top concern for everybody.
Okay.
And it would probably require some definite survey and professional engineering to look at it beyond our scope. It's just the general idea of what seemed to be most feasible from
Where your
High numbers.
prospective crossing is down by in front of the YMCA there.
correct.
Yeah.
12,796.
Yeah.
So it's kind of
At
in
55
some
miles
ways
an hour.
similar to the crosswalk that we approved on 3 Mile Road. It's the
But
same
that is-
consideration.
That is.
Well, isn't that what it was the crosswalk to get access to the trail on 3 Mile Road?
Right, but
Isn't that what they're
this
asking?
is different because, no, I agree on that. I'm just
Yeah.
saying, I think this is way worse. 3 Mile Road.
No,
is
that's
a
what I'm saying.
Straight road.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
There's a pretty serious curve there.
We had serious concerns on 3 Mile Road.
Yeah.
Based upon the traffic speed and the proximity to a traffic light. Silver Lake Road by YMCA, there's a curve there. There are 2 traffic lights, very relatively close to each other at the corner of South Airport Road and then at Barnes Road.
The one on 3 Mile is kind of close to the light though, isn't it?
It is, but this one on the if it's going to come out near the YMCA,
Right.
It's not that far from the traffic light on South Airport, isn't it? I mean,
Oh, no, South Airport's.
Well, I mean, I can give a little insight on this.
Silver Lake.
My kids walk. They're grown up now, but they walked to West Middle School.
Yeah.
And I live in a subdivision off of Zimmerman Road to the left of this. And sometimes they would be sassy or be like, I need you to pick me up right away. And I have an after school thing. And I'd be like, I'm working, I'm not, you can walk home. Right. And so a lot of kids in our neighborhood, and Barshop knows this because we're neighbors, they walk to the junior high. And they walk across Zimmerman Road, which would be lovely if we had a crossing there. And they walk down Wyatt Road and then they turn left and they walk on Silver Lake and then they cross at the light and go to the junior high. That's the only route that I, or like the Swans, like none of us would let our kids try to cross anywhere else. And we told them if we found out you were crossing anywhere but, the traffic light. So I I, first of all, am always fine with being a pass-through agency on grants that don't impact our budget. But if we're asking for opinion, just as like a mom and somebody that lives there and have the neighborhood, I have the exact same concerns because I drive this all the time. And as a parent, I don't know that if the crosswalk existed, I would have let my kids use it. I would have still said, you have to walk. It's actually kind of funny. There's a little cut through between two subdivisions up on Wyatt, and then you can walk over this dirt hill. And then you can walk down Wyatt. And there's a really super nice trail on Silver Lake Road that you come up of on Wyatt. It's quite wide. You can bike on it and you can walk on it, and it goes right to the light. So when I first heard about this grant, I actually had asked someone at Garfield Township. I'm just kind of like, hey, what's the concept with it? And it was hard to get even the township's idea of like why exactly this would be a good connectivity. Our original Garfield Township Trails plan was to connect every single neighborhood, school, and shopping center with a trail. And I love that concept, and I always have. I never thought there would be a crossing there. You could, if you did cross, you'd walk through and you'd get to the Buffalo Ridge Trail, which I was a big part in the creation of that trail. And I love that trail. But that trail is not the trail I sent my kids on to go to the junior high from all the neighborhoods. So I'm just having a hard time wrapping my head around it. But if the ask is being a pass-through agency, I don't normally have a problem with it. But if inherently I'm voting for something I feel could be very unsafe, then I take a moment. And I just happen to have a lot of experience in my husband, current husband now, but prior to us being married, his house was actually the one on the corner on Summerhill. Like we literally lived and drove and did this constantly. Then I live in Heritage Estates. There's a lot of traffic accidents there. Actually, a dear friend of mine, her mother passed away at an accident right at that intersection. So I just have like a little hesitancy. That's all. But the concept of safe routes to school grants, I love, and I love the idea of connecting them. But I feel like we have connections here. And I just wondered, is there another identified intersection? Could we maybe put this money towards the not alleged, that's a horrible word to use. I watch too much true crime podcast. Towards the discussed crosswalk at the Montessori school? Could there be a way to, okay.
Was that safe routes to school? Just the school needs to be.
I forgot about that. The school has to be a certain number of years old.
Yeah, we did originally. We do have as a district, we are working with Meyer to try to develop a plan independent of the safe routes to school grant. We do hope to also do a secondary safe routes to school grant. Maybe the next, session over or whatever. That would be connecting those other neighborhoods but that would be under West Senior High School as the goal to try to connect all of those neighborhoods between the middle school. And
does somebody look at these for safety, or is it like if you were to have the application go through and you received it, it's just a done deal? Or
no, what it is it provides the permission for us to move forward with further studies and to apply. And then with that application, it's all still on the table. It's just we're unable to even submit the application without having the resolution. And so by having that resolution in place and having the application submitted, we then can work with our community partners to establish engineering drawings, do traffic pattern counts, all those things that I am not familiar with, but have definitely heard from everybody that needs to happen. And at that point, it could be determined, what is needed or if there's a better plan. What we're moving forward with now is based on the data of the community volunteers who did the pedestrian counts and the survey results from parents and students.
It's the board's pleasure on this. I think this is something that can also, some of my points that I would make on it will also give you a little preview. We need to have a policy to cover ourselves on this. I think there are there's exposure that we put ourselves, out there when we are the Act 51 authority, whether or not it seems all just a, pass through kind of simple. We are a pass through for a reason, as far as MDOT is concerned, as far as any of the grantor. Grantors are responsible. They're what they're looking for. I'm disinclined upon the safety aspect of it on its face. I think a 55 mile an hour right there, shortly after that turn it doesn't work for me. Not encouraging. I wouldn't want to encourage people to cross there. People or kids especially. And frankly, you can drive around tonight with the snow on the roads and see that people still don't know how to drive.
So my points on these pass-through requests as Act 51 agency are that with any such request where we are asked to act as an Act 51 applicant, we have to have a comprehensive agreement with whether it's a township or the school district that covers at least a couple of things. A, that all maintenance and any future maintenance on these types of projects will be the sole responsibility of the individual, well, the township, the school district, or whoever is the entity responsible for the project. Second, there has to be an indemnification and a hold harmless agreement, because a lot of times it's our name, it's Dan's name, and whoever is the road manager name that goes on these applications. And in the absence of indemnification and a hold harmless provision, the financial liability is equal on the road commission as it is on any other entity that's part of the project. So we have to have an agreement that covers that portion of that as well, that we will be completely indemnified and held harmless should something happen, should some car hit a kid while crossing this planned crossing, which was constructed based on grant funding on an application that our name appears on. So I think those are the two things that we must have with regards to any such request. In this particular situation, I also think that there is a lack of much information. We have a concept of where this crossing is going to go, but really we don't have. Ms. Smith has represented that there have been some pedestrian counts done or whatever. We have that data has not been shared with us as well. And then going back to the point earlier, I have a real concern with the location of this crossing and on this particular stretch of road. So that's my take on these types of requests.
Do those kind of you're talking about, say, a civil lawsuit and the road commission name. Do those types of indemnification agreements matter in that?
Hold up.
I'm just curious. I know I hate asking you this, like it's put on another hat, but
of course they. Yeah.
Okay. So if we're talking about policy, we're talking about, and I agree with you completely. We're talking about that. Does that then realistically remove the discussion of board members as to what their opinion is on the safety of something? I mean, is it like, well, I'm not saying we wouldn't give our opinion, but I'm saying, would it sway your vote? If the only reason you wouldn't vote for something is because it's unsafe, but you have an indemnification agreement, where do you go with that?
No, because we still have a responsibility to determine it is a road.
Mm-hmm. It is
and we still have a responsibility to make sure that public safety is secured. my point in requiring an indemnification and a hold harmless provision is on the, even the safest trail, something can happen.
But that's a great question, Lisa. I mean, really it is.
I think it's important for board members to remember what their purpose is. So is our purpose to, step in the shoes and be engineers and be, all steam, like, no, I don't like this trail, so I'm not voting for it. Or is our goal just to check all the boxes to make sure that the taxpayers are, protected and that the road commission agency is whole? So, and that's hard. It's hard. We're humans. We have opinions.
I think what we have to worry about, concentrate those road commissioners, is what happens on our roads.
Right.
Yeah.
So for example, if we're acting as an Act 51 agency for a trail and we get a hold harmless, it doesn't matter to us what happens on the trail. We're not a trail
Right.
commission. So, but in this case, it's crossing our roads.
And it's a literal spot. I told all 4 of my kids they're not allowed to cross the street. And it's Chuck's backyard was that intersection at Wyatt. Like we sat on the deck and watched the traffic. So I guess I have a more personal opinion on it than I normally do. But this one, I love a trail, but this one I'm struggling with. And also the original Garfield connectivity that we used at Garfield Parks. The way that we were going to connect all of our parks and schools and neighborhoods, there was never a call for a crossing there. So I'm kind of surprised. That's all.
Yeah, well, we've seen a lot of growth, and then with the future development being added on at the YMCA, it's just been determined that people don't want to walk or ride farther to cross to return back. And then if we were to do future growth with trail crossing in order to eventually reach the high school, it seemed like we were just reaching an area that we were expecting to see issues with.
Yeah, I had a question. In this grant you're applying for, it is about $300,000.
So it was originally 300,000 plus, there's an additional mini grant on the top of that, which is an additional 15,000, and Safe Routes to School believes that they are upping that. So.
Do you have any other funding sources? And the reason I ask, my thought is in order if you're to put a crossing there, you're gonna have to do a hawk signal.
Yeah.
A hawk signal is about $300,000. So if you can have the other funding to do the rest of the trail, and also you do the hawk signal, that's just curious if there's any other funding sources.
I don't have any established, but my role with the district is development.
Yeah, we're sorry to put you on the. You like drew a short straw to clear.
It's a good learning experience for me to be here. So
There's never a time when this is going to run out. You've already mentioned that a little later in the year. I would like us to explore what we want as a policy to act as a 51 agency in this particular case. Alicia, you said something nice about the trail that your kids have used along there.
All the time.
I paved that trail, so I'm glad to hear it's a nice, I'm glad to hear it's a nice trail, and it was a safe routes to school.
Yeah, and it's also, of course, the way that you go to the Barnes Trail, which the Barnes Trail is one of my favorite trails in our area. And if you guys don't go on it, it's an amazing trail and it winds through the historic Barnes. It's great. Like there's so much goodness here. And I could see looking at the Buffalo Ridge Trail behind the Y. It's an awesome trail. That there could be some positive connectivity through that intersection, but it's a road that's 55 miles an hour. And I think we need to consider that. And before we would allow something like this, I think we need, as part of the deal, to have a traffic study, an engineered safety report, and someone who had the credentials to convince us that it was the right thing to do. I don't know that we're opposed to it, but we would need to be really somebody who has a lot more expertise than we do as board members to be willing to sign their name to it, to say this is good. So I would say, let us work on this. And if you still want to do something for the June submission, but I don't think we could commit to that.
It didn't OHM kind of do that for 3 Mile Park?
Yeah, we do. We asked for the same type of studies at the 3 Mile.
like an engineering assessment.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's not unique.
this does connect to shopping things, so I don't want to like misrepresent the overall scope of connecting shopping centers and neighborhoods and schools. But right now, it seems more like a safe route to the YMCA, not a safe route to school. And I just wonder if they have any potential role that they could play financially in it or something. If I don't know.
I would also like for concurrence with the township on what they view in this, because the townships are really important partners to us. We're trying to connect what our townships want and what is possible within the road systems.
John would be a good opinion. John Syke would be a great opinion.
Chris is here. We've talked about these. Okay, so I think our general feeling is not right now. We'll work on a policy and we'll see what happens in the near future as you maybe come back to us again.
Okay. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Maybe talk to Claire.
Yeah. They're real experience.
They're a big grant, so thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, the consent calendar, next item.
Consent calendar is used to expedite business by grouping non-controversial items together without discussion. Request by any person present to remove any item from the consent calendar for full discussion as an agenda item are automatically respected. The actions noted in parentheses for all items remaining on the consent calendar are approved by a single commission action adopting the consent calendars. The manager recommends following items be adopted. 1, minutes. 2, payroll. 3, accounts payable. 4, financial reports, and 5, communication.
Okay.
I'll make the motion to approve the consent calendar for them.
All right.
Second.
All right, we have a motion to support. Is there any further, do we need to remove any items? No, got it. We're good. We're gonna need a roll call vote for this because there's some money involved. So that's-
On what?
Pardon?
On what?
Yes.
Gentlemen,
Yes.
Gordon?
Yeah.
Chasm
Yes.
and Lehman.
Yes. Okay. Reports. Commissioners, starting with Commissioner Court.
Oh, from Dan's report?
Just from the staff
Oh,
report. yes.
Commissioner update.
No, this is
From the staff
report.
Sorry, I'm
Yeah.
scrolling down trying to get to the
From the-
right page
sorry.
on the agenda. That was my bad.
Yeah.
Number D.
No, but I am scrolling down to it because I'm slow on that stuff.
I'm fine.
Yeah.
I have a couple of questions. Just, is there an update on the timing of the 5-year plan? I see that the information has been delivered to Wake Trim.
It has, we did talk to them recently and they said that they're really close to delivering the, first copy to us here, the first one. Once they do that, like staffs can get very involved into and go over it, but, I think we'll see something here in the next 30 days.
Okay, great. And then the second question is any update on when we can get the truss arm for the Kirkner Road traffic light so that we can have the detection camera, because it's getting a little silly out there in terms of how long we are waiting. People are sitting on the light when there is no traffic on a Saturday.
Yeah, I've definitely been receiving, a lot of emails and calls on that one.
Yeah.
It's still on back order. It should have been here when the project was installed.
Should we get a discount now because of all the delay in this? I mean,
That we could. It would be nice, but
Right.
I highly doubt they will offer one.
well,
That's a further question. Should our lights have mast arms?
where would they install the?
They would install it on the cable across the road. We are using some mast arms in our designs, and there's plenty of intersections that are function just fine without mast arms.
Like a box?
No, with a
No, you
Yeah.
got box, you're talking about box line or?
yeah, boxing them up on the
On the-
yeah. No, not a box beam, just the wires up there. Look what happens at South Airport and 31. No arms. Arms are not necessary. We've fallen into this expensive design of arms and now we're waiting for arms.
Well, and the other thing is, haven't we been waiting on it since September? I mean, this is, it just keeps getting pushed back and back and back and, you know, and we obviously, we paid for it. And doesn't seem to be any guarantee as to when we'll get it.
I don't think we paid for it
Have
until,
we not paid for it? I thought we had.
Usually we don't pay for it until,
Well, maybe we should just not pay for it.
those things aren't done till they're completed.
usually pay portions of the project as they're completed.
Once the parts come in though, like how long does it take normal if things go the right way? What's the length of the project after that?
I know staff has like done all the work to pre-prep for it, so when it comes, so like we're literally waiting for this to plug in and play, and it should take long at all.
Because the weather's terrible. I mean, the idea of them being out in something like this, trying to.
There should be some form of liquidated damages component in these contracts for the amount of harassment that our staff get. For,
Pain and
you know, because there should be some emotional distress component to these
And I think
damages.
TCAPS deserves some,
You know.
some compensation in that.
Because I can imagine how many calls and emails you get, because I had to stop my own wife from emailing you. A few times, I'm like, no, that is bad form. You know, let's not do that.
That's definitely something we're still dealing with, I'd say, throughout the entire organization, not just this supply chain issues and the backward things, and
Do
very
you think
frustrating.
we should do a communication on it though? Because I think not that people aren't still going to be frustrated, but it sure is better when you understand what's going on. Like this has been going on for so long and it's such a problem for so many people. Could there,
Starring a role.
could we just let somebody know? I mean, if they listen to our meetings, but like, let's be honest. Even I watch our own meetings.
Facebook posts on it, but
I don't know that we have, and I think TCAPS would appreciate it too. I'm sure that they are getting an earful on something that is 100% out of their control.
No, I mean, I think people know, I think it's just when you're sitting there, I don't care. I don't think any amount of communication is gonna convince people when they're waiting. They're like, how stupid is this? You know,
Well, I think that they think that we just didn't plan it right. And the staff did do their job and did it right and
Remember,
did everything.
his wife, if that communication isn't working.
every time I say the same thing, you know, it's not like I'm telling different
So
things.
Chuck texted me from
Every
Knife and
time.
Fork, said the entire table at Knife and Fork was talking about the light at Herkner.
I know.
And then
Is that
somebody,
before?
Judge Elsenheimer told him that, oh, Chuck Warren's wife is on the road commission. And then he said it was really bad and he came home and had a whole lot to say. And I'm but I mean, I don't know. I just feel, I guess more in defense of our staff. They didn't screw up or do anything wrong. It is a supply chain issue. I hope people have some understanding and compassion for that.
Because it was a federal job. Wasn't this a federal job?
but
It's not simple. Everything is complicated when you deal with the federal government.
Yeah.
Or the road commission.
Oh, yeah.
It doesn't matter
Housing too.
if it's 30 million or whatever this cost, $500,000, whatever.
Is that why we needed a trust arm? Because it's a federal, and was it a requirement for the
No, it was in our
project?
design.
Okay, I mean, I understand it's a federal project. I'm not sure how that relates to a supply or not
That's too extra.
supply. Trust arm. But anyways, I just wanted to update. I didn't want to hold, take up so.
No, it's important. And
Right,
anybody who drives the west corridor is frustrated by
People
it.
definitely want
Oh,
to
yeah.
reach out to us all the time about it.
Yeah.
And I just say it's back ordered, but I just feel like in defense of our staff, they're, that's all. Just something.
Commissioner update starting with Commissioner Gilman.
I don't know if it's.
Nothing.
Commissioner Guy. All right. Any other, were you?
Updates?
Yes,
No, I
updates.
think Dan's gonna talk about the biggest one I had, so. I see the maps there. You mentioned that during your chat.
I didn't have anything in it. I mean, if you wanted to bring it up, have a good time.
Village of Fife Lake lost their DPW, their log drive guy, so, and we went to that today. So Dan and his crew are trying to figure out how we can help out Fife Lake. Because obviously they're in snow right now. So,
They have one plow truck and one plow person. It's that.
yes,
They had one plow truck and they had one person, a part-time person, and they both have left.
yeah, so they're still trying to connect. I got an email and I sent it to Dan, so they're still trying to.
I mean, I think it's as simple as they contract with us for the,
Yeah.
for those
Yeah,
services,
we already have-
inclusive of any overtime that we have to.
We have an agreement with them already in place for doing work. One of the big issues we're gonna have there is, we've been in this map, we kind of highlighted what we believe we can get our trucks down. A lot of their roads will, we can fit our trucks down.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
There's-
yeah.
They would need some major tree cutting and there's things in place that, you know,
Do we have any pickups that do any, the smaller roads anyway, or?
Are you suggesting they need a contractor, Dan?
The village needs a
For-
no plow contract.
they have some very tight subdivisions and alley roads. They might need to find a contractor. We could definitely help out on some of their major roads, their bigger roads.
Can
I think
you,
it's not like a city major, we call them a primary, that kind of thing. We know we can get down those roads, but there's several that are.
Trails.
can we
Trail.
contract out a driver to drive their plow truck? I mean, obviously their plow truck
Yeah, they're small.
does these roads. So are we able to,
I don't know if we have any extras right now.
Yeah, we were really,
Yeah.
it's gonna put a little bit of a pinch for us. What we were looking at is some of our drivers already kind of go through there. As a cut through, we would be able to plow and do stuff while with their trucks while they're there. It would, if we had an individual just plowing that, it would definitely affect our routes.
okay, all right.
Except my biggest one, so. But maybe knows. We're trying to get some good contact information for a couple of folks down there that we can't seem to find.
I hope they have an ad out
So-
and all of that stuff. They're
Like
making.
it happened like this week. I mean, it's like, they just
Oh.
basically said we're done and left.
That's awful.
That's
I
not
mean, it
the
has
way
been a
I
lot.
understand.
That's not a good.
That's just the way I understand it, so, anyway.
No.
I have a couple of things. The construction committee did meet before the last meeting and we've seen, what's on the schedule for this year. They've got a fairly robust, plan forwarded the first year of the 5-year plan. It looks good. There's more projects than there is money for.
Yeah.
But they're still working it out, but we've seen it looks good. And then I attended the Garfield meeting with Dan and Chris Barshef and supervisor, and our Chris Elliott. And we talked about, because Garfield has a substantial amount of money they want to fix the roads in Garfield Township. And they've agreed to, as part of our Frankie Road project, they're going to cover the missing sidewalk link and they're covering all the costs of that. They're prepared to do it and we're facilitating our design so that this all works out. We've got Dan and the staff selected a couple other things, a road that was not high on our list that Garfield, that we believe that it fits a good partnership project, and that was Roosh Road. It was on our thing from the road we just did. We repaired all the way down to Garfield. It was 1.2 miles or something.
Yeah.
That will probably go on the schedule for this year. And then they have also committed that they would like to work with us on the Zimmerman connector.
The one we were talking.
The one we were talking about earlier. It's on the priority list. And they will be willing to commit to carry their share on that. It's important. It's a problem up at the top of the hill.
Yeah. Of the Rouge Road, was it Rouge Road in Blair Township that we had to do that, or was that Potter? The one that just collapsed?
Potter's the divider road.
Oh, okay, that's
Roosh is up both sides of the township.
Right.
It's both township.
Yeah, it ends at our Potter Road fix there.
Okay.
And extends Rouge, it goes south from there, that line in Blair. Okay, the next thing is 3 mile tap grant.
No, actually, commissioners discussion.
Oh, I thought that was.
No, I'm sorry.
Okay.
That was kind of updates.
Okay.
I just real quick, I wanted to touch on things. In fact, Potter, are we going to be doing a chip seal then in the spring to fresh that up? Is it holding so far so good? Yeah.
We've seen so far, we'll wait till the snow's going.
Yeah, right. The only other thing is I saw Carl on TV talking about he says, we've already spent 2 times the budget we had for snow removal. Are we there yet? I mean, how are we?
I would say we're definitely up on our expenses. I don't know the exact numbers, so I don't think we're in trouble by any means. Bill might go in a little bit.
We might be on a September 30 fiscal year,
Oh.
or on a December 31st calendar year.
Okay, so they've already burned through it in the beginning of
Yeah,
twenty
very
twenty-five.
close to getting the year closed out. I think our winter maintenance, we were a little bit over budget, but I do have some overhead at branch credits to respread back, which will bring that down a little bit. So nothing I'm concerned with at this time. We are heavy in winter maintenance in January,
Yeah, okay.
this year. And when I get the year closed out and the projects and come with a budget amendment, we'll address any issues.
Well, one of the things he is mentioning is that we've had these thaw freeze events, which he says I've never seen before, you know, and,
Last year.
I think there were six.
well, it's been pretty bad this year. It's been pretty bad this year, and it may be worse for Wexford County too, so.
Something we noticed is, you know, I'm probably shading myself back here. But I remember you get a big snowstorm and come in, and then it was nice for a week. You know, it happened.
it hasn't.
We're all almost like every
Right.
single day there's just a little something going on. So you're running your trucks every single day, or using material,
Yeah.
you're using fuel.
That's the difference.
That's the big difference. I would say.
And that's just saying.
I noticed the 2 trucks with plows on today.
I just, I know it's hard to think about spring right now, you know, everything. But I know that we had talked about doing some sort of a traffic count and then doing some more design work on Gray and Cedar Run intersection with respect to left turns and also look at some feasibility for Straight Road and North Long Lake Road. And I want to make sure that those projects are on track for spring, because that's what we had agreed and decided upon last year.
As far as like project-based stuff, we're definitely gonna try to do something there at Gray Road. As far as getting a project done on Straight, in 26, I don't foresee that. We can definitely look into the future down the road. What are some options and, you know, at further dates or years out.
Well, my understanding for the Straight Road and North Long Lake Road was, well, we were just gonna do some study or count or something to see how feasible it would be to put for example, a left turn lane from North Long Lake into Straight, not like do actual design or everything, just do data gathering. So that was my understanding, and I want to make sure that we stay on track on that, and that doesn't get cited.
Didn't we ask for grants a couple years in a row for a safety grant for designs there?
And they got denied.
Denied?
Yes.
And I think you brought up a few months ago that maybe we'll have to fund some design ourselves to do that.
Right.
And maybe that has to get.
Right.
It certainly should be on our list that as the corridor becomes busier. I mean, it's one of the areas, I had a couple things. I mentioned to Dan that I think it's so dangerous where Hartman Road comes out on 31.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think we need to,
Angle.
I really think we need to talk to MDOT a little bit more about that. And maybe there's not enough crash data and they'll tell me. But I see stuff happening there all the time and I don't know what enough is. I don't know how many things. There's a couple areas, the North Long Lake Road is a horrible spot right now because of all the growth. And it's going to continue to grow. They're plowing in a couple really big subdivisions out there, really big as we speak, as we sit here. And so I'd like to see that in these other areas that we have some concerns with. Hartman Road, I know that's really under the jurisdiction of MDOT, but I'd at least like us to talk to them about.
Right. And my other concern to make sure that we stay on track on these two projects of North Long Lake and Straight and especially Cedar Run and Gray is because we are going to be in the same situation this year that we were last year when the construction resumes in the Interlochen construction project. And we're going to be under the same pressure. We're going to get the same, complaints and everything. So we can't get behind the 8 ball on that. And that is why we had these projects these studies beginning in spring so that we can get the data and start putting together some design work to implement that.
Actually,
we can't let it fall off. And we did, some of the stuff on the north end, like the gray thing, because that shouldn't be affected so much. To me, that's more likely to be a regular year that is going to be indicative of what's really there. Where last year with the M22, M72 roundabout, which was impossible, right? So that the counts were unrealistic on there, but they should be sort of normal at the north end there now. So it'd be nice to see us proceed with those. Sorry, I didn't mean to skip that.
No, you're fine.
Didn't mean to shorten the commissioner's discussion.
No, you're good.
I think we should also talk about Harris and Cedar Run. Just reminded me when I brought that up just a little bit further down. If hypothetically Zimmerman Road cuts through, there is going to be an insanely increased amount of traffic.
Yeah.
At that intersection. And I know that it was included in our safety grant, kind of the safety grant with Gray. And I think if I'm summarizing this accurately, there was a real concern with the grade of the hill for either a traffic light, a roundabout, whatever we talked about. And that is a significant project to change the grade in a hill. So I would want to make sure that if we're having the Zimmerman discussion, and I'm not necessarily saying the discussion with Garfield and the developer and everything, but just in general to have good foresight. I think my number one goal as a commissioner is to be proactive and not reactive. And I hate to have us put all of our ducks in a row and this fabulous Harris Road connection comes through and then we create an absolutely unsafe environment on that hill. So I don't know what that means. I don't know what that safety grant really went into there and how. I don't know what that safety grant considered the concept of a true road coming into that intersection.
They did. I don't believe they did. They did not. I really, for the Zimmerman extension project, I think the one thing that we would have to address at that time is the vertical grade or whatever on that road, because I think that's what makes it, especially at this time of year.
Yes.
Right now, if you have to stop on that,
I
there's
don't
going
know
to be
how you
cars
could.
that's going to
Yeah.
be stuck.
Yeah.
So
People get up Burns Road.
There's two more that I don't want to fall off either, and that is Oak and Keystone, which is twice a day is a mess, as we all know. And then, of course, we still have our Potter and 3 Mile issue with site and other issues. Again, it's a great issue and other things, but I'm trying to remember any of the other ones that we were talking about.
So we talked about that one on Secor and Silver Lake Road.
Especially with the interlocking project.
Yeah, that's the one. That's the one that got most affected.
That wasn't part of MDOT's official detour.
No, but we know
And things happen to us, so they're not going to do something for us. I don't know what we would do. Dan, do you have any? Would we hang a light at Secor and Silver Lake, West Silver for the summer?
I need to have a follow-up conversation with them. We did have some conversation with them, and I think they were looking at possibly putting a temporary up there for us.
Would it meet the warrants? Because every time we talk about a traffic light, we have to have.
I think that might be one of the conversations.
And we have to find the corner too. Because they come right around that corner.
Yeah.
And I was at Blair for the, just because I represent them, and they did bring up, I know that Secor is in Garfield, but it matters to Blair Township. It backs up into that. And they were concerned about the detours and the unofficial detours and all of that too. And I say the same thing. You should probably talk to MDOT about that.
Well, maybe we have to convince MDOT that make it an official detour rather than it is unofficial detour, because
people just go where they want.
Yeah,
we have public roads.
Right, because that from experience, we know that that's where people live.
Yeah, I know. Well, I just think when we go to our townships too, just reminding the township boards, because they're the closest to who they represent, that, we can sit here and throw out roads, but we're just 5 people and it matters to hear from all of the 13 townships. So if I just try to remind the board members, share with us what do you hear from your constituents and what are problem roads. There could be a problem road in a township. I've never driven on it. I wouldn't have any idea. So just things to remember when you're going to your township meeting.
Just one more thing too, one more road is, we have the constituency out in, Williamsburg for Brackett Road.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
I mean, if we can get them to go, if we can get that stretch of Brackett Road fixed, they can use that roundabout, then Bates Road is no longer a dangerous intersection. They're used a little less, so.
Well, we should see our 5-year plan should help.
That's what,
Right.
yeah, I think that's what's gonna
So
be a
it's
good.
not like we have a shortage of potential projects.
Right,
When you have an area that's growing as fast as ours, I mean, it is,
there's a lot.
yeah, it is trying to drink water from a fire hydrant.
Okay.
Something we need to work on with this amount of projects is we don't have the staff to go through and do this design. We're gonna have to sub a lot of this stuff out, which is gonna cost a lot of money, which is, then you're doing less road projects, you're able to do less things.
But aren't we getting more money too?
Even with more money, this is, it's a lot of stuff going on here. We've seen before, having firms looking at this stuff is not very cheap.
I think that's probably because the firms know we're getting more money.
It is, there's some problems. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the good news is we're discussing things so the public knows that we actually know.
And if there's roads we don't discuss, we want to hear about them.
3 Mile Road Trail Extension TAP grant.
I just offer a map.
I love that. I'm
Yeah.
I'm field development
Love
director
that.
with Chart Trails, so I'll jump over to you.
I love
So
that.
just to
It's a great
show
trail.
you which is phase 2 that we're, there you go, Tom, and you can see. So that'll tell you. So we already did the phase 1, and that was near the crossing there.
They're gonna get across.
So you'll see in front of you, we are here. Thank you for your time this evening. We appreciate the continued support for safety and an efficient transportation system. You are looking at phase 2 of the 3 Mile Trail, which closes a critical gap between the Mitchell Creek area and the Safe Routes to School project along Hammond, separating people in a really busy corridor and improving safety for students, families, and all road users while building on projects that this board has previously approved. So as mentioned, we are seeking an Act 51 agency as a road commission to enable the township to pursue the MDOT Transportation Alternatives Program funding. And East Bay Township, as they've done with the phase 1 and with the Safe Routes to School, assumes full maintenance responsibility. That is an understanding. And we are looking for this continued investment in this corridor where we know we've got over 4,000 students, residents, visitors, and local businesses. So we appreciate the support you provided in the partnership. We continue to work with Dan and his team and to encourage you to support phase 2. And I'm here to happily answer any questions.
So does somebody want to start? Or I have something I'd like to say, but I think it's demonstrated that the East Bay wants to do this, and the group they have put together is very good. I do think, and the fact that you have a plan and you have a map, this is what commissioners need to see. And I'm supportive of this. I do think we need to add, we want a hold harmless as part of our, and an agreement, whether you do it or not, we want the agreement for future maintenance. That in 20 years, we don't want to send our pothole crews down to and we don't want to worry about the fact that somebody's bike tire tumbles in there and goes down. I don't think we could envision ourselves becoming the Trails Commission. So I'm just saying I believe that's what we will want, and I'm certainly ready.
Respond in part, partially. So the resolution you have and that you before you is similar with added verbiage for phase 2 as the one that was approved previously.
Yeah.
Now the township will be going there in early February, as we did before, and their resolution covers all of the necessary language about being responsible in perpetuity for maintenance and the trail, any cost overruns.
I think though, this is where we need to tighten this up, our participation, because I'm gonna go through a few pages of what it means to be an Act 51 applicant on a TAP grant. We are the legal applicant of record to MDOT and the Federal Highway Administration. We are the entity responsible for compliance with federal and state requirements. We are the fiscal backstop if something does go sideways. So, we have long-term maintenance risk. Now we can, East Bay Township can say we're going to take care of it, but we can address that with better language, I think. MDOT and the Federal Highway Administration can still look at us if maintenance lapses, safety complaints come about. The township later claims a budget hardship, ownership or jurisdiction then starts to get muddy. Our exposure, TAP is federal money. That means NEPA, ADA, Buy America, Davis-Bacon, design exceptions, and environmental clearances are all part of the process, and I'm sure you're aware of all that. But we are the applicant of record when it comes to that. If there's a cost overrun and a scope, a creep of scope, okay, bids come in high, scope has to change, grant dollars fall short, MDOT can come back at us as the agency to amend agreements, recertify funding, and potentially front the costs until that's resolved. They may not go to the agency that says, hey, we'll take care of it first, East Bay Township, I suppose. Once we say yes here, other townships, of course, can ask other trail projects to follow. We did it before as the argument, and I think we need to, again, now tighten that up. What it does not, the resolution, this resolution doesn't protect us from any, it doesn't survive future board changes. It doesn't override MDOT or Federal Highway Authority. So the questions we have to ask, of course, is who owns the facility after construction, who maintains it in perpetuity, and where is that legally reported? What happens if East Bay Township later declines or is unable to maintain it? Does the road commission have any future maintenance inspection liability obligation? Is there an indemnification agreement, which I have prepared a potential indemnification agreement for our attorneys to look at? And what precedent does this set for future TAP applications? Again, we did it before, it's not just a neutral, we're just, they're in name only. We have a potential liability, we have a responsibility. And so, I think I have an additional, number of lines that could be added to the resolution. And then I also have an indemnification and hold harmless provision that our attorneys could preview. And I would be glad to read. I'll read the further lines of the resolution if the board would like me to. But ultimately, we need to be indemnified from personal injury, property damage, ADA claims, environmental claims, design or construction defects, maintenance failures, or any federal or state compliance issues. We have to be not at all. This isn't our problem. We're simply there for the signature. Again, NEPA, ADA, Buy America. So, if we were to go forward, I could support this additional language to the resolution added directly after the final resolved clause that exists in our packet. Be it further resolved, the Grand Traverse County Road Commission's role as an Act 51 applicant is strictly limited to application submission and grant administration, and shall not be construed to create any ownership, jurisdictional, operational, maintenance, or financial obligation for the Road Commission now or in the future. And be it further resolved that the East Bay Charter Township shall retain sole ownership and perpetual maintenance responsibility for all facilities constructed under the TAP grant, and that such facilities shall not be accepted into the county road system. And be it further resolved that the East Bay Charter Township shall indemnify, defend, and hold harmless the Grand Traverse County Road Commission, its commissioners, officers, and employees from any and all claims, Costs, liabilities, damages, or enforcement actions arising from the project, including but not limited to construction, maintenance, use, federal or state compliance, or funding shortfalls. Be it further resolved that the East Bay Charter Township shall be solely responsible for all matching funds, costs, overruns, change orders, and ongoing compliance costs, and that no Act 51 or Road Commission funds shall be used for this project. Be it further resolved that these obligations shall be memorialized in a separate written agreement, which would be the hold harmless, approved by legal counsel for the Grand Traverse County Road Commission prior to submission of the TAP application. Be it further resolved that approval of this resolution shall not establish precedent nor obligate the Road Commission to serve as an Act 51 applicant on any future project. That would be for me. That's what it would take to get my yes vote. And the indemnification, defense, and hold harmless provision essentially memorializes all of that in a legal form prior to the application being supported with signature from this agency as its partner. Now, this also for the board, this also brings us to, we need to get some of these policies standardized so that when we do run into these situations, it can kind of be a little more understood and expected prior to all of that. And I've got some for your policy. You've seen some of this.
Yeah.
These are suggestions, but if anyone on the board would like to include the additional resolved clauses, as I said, I would support that. And then of course we would have to then have our attorney at least look at this, change, do whatever they have to do. But this would be a good start for whole parties. And that's where I'm at.
All right. So first of all, I want to say that I am in support of this project and us acting as a Act 51 applicant for the TAP program. We have done it for phase 1. We did it for the Safe Routes to School. It makes sense to me to do so for phase 2. However, as I had said earlier, during the appointment section, I want to see an agreement, pretty much what Commissioner Gilman just talked about, that states comprehensively that we do not have any obligations at any point regarding any maintenance costs ever. And then also a indemnification and hold on this agreement. So I am in agreement with these additional provisions in the resolution for the reason that I understand that your point that East Bay Township is going to have a resolution that would set forth their obligations for perpetual maintenance and everything. However, that doesn't protect us. That is for East Bay Township as to what commitment they are undertaking. The resolution that we are being asked to adopt today, this is the resolution that applies to us. And so with these additional provisions, I think it addresses my concerns. And if those are acceptable to you or in East Bay Township, then I think we can get this done. But I think we need to have this additional safeguards and guarantees in order to make sure that the Road Commission is protected in the future, because we won't be here, 15, 20, 50 years from now. A lot of the people who are decision makers now won't be here. And we certainly don't want to, a lot of things can happen. And we don't want to expose the Road Commission to any future liability, which we can foresee at this point. There may be unforeseeable events, but those are unforeseeable and we can't predict those. But to the extent that we can foresee certain events, we have to make sure that we address them. So that's where I'm at.
Commissioner Hunter, what you mean?
I agree with my fellow commissioners here to my left. these are can be construed as not support, but it has to do more with what goes along with the trail, not the trail itself. And we have to make sure that this board protects taxpayers, the county, by adding additional language that spells out exactly how that's going to operate. And I need that additional support. I need that additional information, that additional assurance to vote for this resolution.
Sure, cool. Well, no surprise, I'm in support of this grant application. I need a little clarification though. I want to be really fair to TCAPS, who was here earlier tonight. And it wasn't just merely the absence of adding a hold harmless clause or, you know, we had some concerns about the design or the safety of that, right? Okay, so that's clear to me. Here, am I hearing that everybody here is in support of this trail? That your concern of this trail would be the hold harmless part of it, right? The liability part of it. Because we have to be really clear and fair to all of our potential applicants. Well, wait, TCAPS could say, hey, we'll put that language in our resolution.
Let me qualify that though. And this is why I said you asked a very good question, because you did ask the question, this question, when that subject was up. And that's why I said it's a very good question. This isn't on our roads. We're not.
No, absolutely.
So no, you know, I mean, it's Silver Lake Road. Dangerous road.
100%. Well, I'm speaking about it from a policy point of view. I think I'm guesstimating, but I think all five of us are in agreement about the hold harmless and the liability. I don't think that was a question.
You know, the only road this crosses is Vanderlip.
But if they're going to come to us in the future on a trail that doesn't ever touch one of our roads, and they include the hold harmless, or not just they, any township, any agency, is it reasonable to assume that we are comfortable as a policy-making board that if there is the hold harmless part and it doesn't have the safety factor where we're talking about?
I think it's still discretionary because that's what we take votes for.
Yeah, I don't think I can.
No, I'm not asking for carte blanche. I'm saying I hate having this discussion every time a trail application comes up. So I'm trying to identify what is the real heart of the issue. And if the heart of the issue is coming up with a comprehensive policy, sign me up. I'm all for it. But that comprehensive policy needs to be equally applied to every applicant and every project. And that's where the problem falls. Because not every project and every applicant is equal.
And that's why I'm reluctant to have a policy.
Okay, that's what I want to.
I mean, that's Commissioner Gilman's. I'm not agreeing to it.
Okay.
I mean, at this point, I haven't said anything. I'm reluctant to.
But you said you're good with the hold harmless and the language in the resolution. On this one.
Okay. For a couple of reasons, like I said, because we have already approved phase one. We already approved safe routes. So it makes sense to me to approve phase two, considering the fact that it doesn't affect our roads. It doesn't create any safety interest. So it's a continuation of a trail system, an extension of a trail system that we have previously approved. That I'm not going to sit here and say, well, as long as it doesn't touch our roads and as long as the agreement is all this other language is there, it will be an automatic yes vote for me.
Well, I don't mean automatic yes. Yeah. I mean, we just have a detailed discussion every time a trail is brought up, and it seems like there's different issues.
Yeah.
My question on this would be, and I'm just throwing it out there, I don't know, I would defer to Hyder probably. Could we just have one additional whereas, which adds that there would be an additional agreement on hold harmless, or do we have to?
It says that.
But why do we have to have all of that additional language in the resolution?
To clarify.
Right, but wouldn't because you said the agreement in summary summarizes this, we would, document it. So I'm just saying, why couldn't it be whereas, agreement will be signed for whatever you guys, indemnification or whatever the appropriate wording would be. And it's just like one sentence.
For maintenance and indemnification.
Yes. Just like one sentence rather than all of the stuff.
I think it touches on a number of different points though too.
But those points would all be in the agreement that we would require them to sign with us if we were to pass the resolution.
What is the timeline on this particular grant application.
So we are going for February 18th, and that is the same timeline, and that is what is really critical to this project is you see the phasing is this is a gap. So the goal is 2026, 2027, 2028 in order to provide that regional connectivity and maximize what the investment is.
So there wouldn't be a time necessarily, because I see where you're going, for this additional document. So would then the additional wording in the resolution make the board comfortable, or is the additional wording not independent of a secondary agreement, or would the additional wording be?
In my opinion, in my view, the additional clauses in the resolution pretty much reiterates our conditions for adopting this regulation. Because by your, line of questioning, a lot of this existing language in the resolution could be considered superfluous. Why do we have to be in there that the Board of Road Commission supports the non-motorized transportation access?
Right.
So I think it's just in a resolution, all these clauses kind of sets forth a narrative as to the conditions based upon which the Road Commission is agreeing to be that applicant. And so these additional clauses kind of reiterate that these are the conditions based upon which we are agreeing to do this.
So if
And all
we
these
added it
conditions,
on,
right.
would you think it's a comfortable thing to not then have the additional agreement since we have a timeline?
No, we would have it because the additional agreement will then have the detail.
The T.
So how does that work with the timeline for them then?
Well, East Bay Township needs to get us, get a signature that holds us harmless. I think we can support the resolution subject to the completion of it with a hold harmless or with agreement. We need to have our attorney look at it. But I think that.
What's the time frame again for when you need to have this?
February 18th and the board meeting
3 weeks.
is February, it's in 2 weeks, I think,
For East Bay?
for East Bay. Is there a way? I guess how yes, I'm worried about that time.
I mean, I'm going to just throw it out there. If East Bay is willing to have a special meeting to address this before the regular meeting, we could have called a special meeting if that helps with the timeline. But obviously, it has to first come from East Bay to the agreement to add this language in there.
I also can't speak on behalf of East Bay.
I understand.
But I do appreciate that what you would add would be added with or without it. East Bay can choose to accept it or not. So, but I guess the agreement language, I think there are a few agreements coming online this coming year. In addition to this, we'll funding agreement, as you said, you listed out what the Act 51 agency responsibilities are. So I think we will see additional agreements that need to be in place. So I don't know if there's a way does it have to be timed before this one can be applied for, or that the understanding.
I think so. I think as long as we can get these additional clauses in the resolution.
Yes.
Personally, I would vote for it without having an agreement in place, because the agreement can then be negotiated and agreed upon after the resolution is adopted, because the resolution provides for a written agreement. Exactly.
That was what my non-lawyer words were trying to say.
I think
could we sign it tonight with a sentence in there that refers to?
Which it does.
I guess just with the addition that I think there was a deadline in that.
You're talking about all these additional clauses.
That's what I'm asking.
Right. But we can sign it. Yeah. And then East Bay can choose to accept it or not. Yeah, absolutely.
One of those whereas they'll say that it was only if that there would be an execution of an agreement.
No, it says that these obligations shall be memorialized in a separate written agreement approved by legal counsel for the road commission prior to submission of the.
So that's where
we can, if you're willing to remove that prior to submission.
No, I think it's conditional. It has to be conditional. If we apply for the grant and we don't have that legal document signed, they can say, nah, I'm not saying that's going to happen, but I think I think what needs to happen is I think East Bay Township needs to step up if it's important to them, they need to say, we're gonna sign the indemnification agreement, get it signed, and we will have already agreed to the resolution, I suppose. So that then, once we have that in hand, you can turn that application in.
I gotta look at the calendar. So East Bay Township is February 9th. Monday, February 9th, if I'm right on that, okay. Because they can't just sign that. I mean, they would have to have a board meeting that would allow them to sign the indemnification.
We have special meetings.
Right, that's what I'm saying, so,
That's why.
but would February
Right.
9th even, would that be okay?
So there isn't a way to just, I guess, if the resolution would still only be, I guess, upheld if there was a future indemnification agreement signed without stipulating that it's prior to the admission of the grant.
But the grant's being submitted by February 18th,
Mhm.
and East Bay Township would meet on February 9th and be like, yes, Beth, sign the indemnification thing. And our resolution is already signed by us because our resolution states, well, it's null and void if there's no
Yeah.
agreement signed prior to the application, right? Wouldn't that make it
One
easier?
question would be, when can our lawyers prepare this
There.
agreement?
Yep. Dan's gonna write it.
I guess I can't speak to their timeline. They're usually.
Because the agreement has to come from us.
Right. You
Yeah.
send this to them, they're gonna look at it and they're gonna review it and make whatever minor adjustments, but they're gonna be right there on it.
That's gonna give them till February 9th, February 8th. I don't know,
But I say
whatever.
I usually see most things turn around in like 2 weeks. time.
Usually it's 2 weeks. It's 2 weeks, typical.
But that's with no,
But we can expedite.
And
I
then
mean,
really-
expedited requests can,
What is-
lawyers do that all the time.
Today is 22nd.
22nd.
Okay, so the East Bay Township meeting is a little over 2 weeks from now, two and a half weeks.
So if we submitted an application and for some reason East Bay didn't want to go along with it, couldn't we withdraw that application
Yes.
from MDOT?
I don't know. I don't know the answer.
I don't think they liked it.
I think,
Yeah, I don't know.
We were told
I
about the
think that-
safety grants. They,
Yeah.
that, I don't know if that impacts future applications, and then if we keep it submitting
Commissioner
it,
Underwood, you have something to say about?
I would prefer to have everything settled before we vote for this.
it becomes a slippery slope if we submit an application, then having to withdraw it. People get upset. So why not just do it right the first time?
But all the time at boards, we approve things and say subject to legal review. I mean, we do vote because it makes sense when everybody's convened. It's more convenient for the staff, the commissioners, the public, and the partners. So I guess I don't understand why if the resolution has a sentence in it that says that this agreement would be executed, or else we're just not gonna apply for it. I mean, it's on them then. And if our legal team does the best that they can and can only get it by a certain date, then they would have to call a special meeting. Or else they would just not do it and we just wouldn't submit it.
How about? I would really prefer it to be done beforehand, but how about if there is if we put in their language that we say, be it further resolved that these obligations shall be memorialized in a separate written agreement approved by legal counsel for the Grand Traverse County Road Commission. And be it further resolved that should this separate written agreement not be entered into within 30 days after submission of the TAP application, the Grand Traverse County Road Commission shall withdraw the application.
I mean, we could do that.
Because that will
But
address the
again,
concern
if
about
that
if
puts
East Bay
us-
Township.
We could do that again if that puts us, if it doesn't get signed, if it isn't agreed to, she can't promise again for
Right,
East Bay
right.
Township. So if the application is made, I mean, I think if we make the application, it has to be at the very last minute, so we kind of have an idea of what's going on.
Yeah,
But if the application is made and then
within 30 days, they don't sign the agreement, then we can say we have withdrawn the application.
again, that backs us out of,
I mean, like I said, my preference would be to have it all done beforehand, but if we are talking about deadlines and things, that is a alternative.
I just don't understand, why is it now a rush? It's not like it's a surprise that this was gonna come. Why are we getting it now? So in 30 days we have to submit.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna vote for this resolution if we do it tonight. I'm just not.
Because you want a fully approved by our lawyers indemnification agreement prior to signing a resolution.
It's not like, no, prior to the agreement. Prior to the application.
No,
Prior to the
saying
submission.
prior to voting for a
I'm not gonna
resolution,
vote for it
he won't
without
do it
that.
without it.
Okay.
But
Because
like,
it's
we
not
vote
like it
on
was a
things all the
surprise.
time that our lawyer hasn't.
But it's
gone
not like
through.
it's a surprise. Once again, this is a hurry up, rush, get it done.
I'm
Not
okay
gonna do
to approve this resolution with this language in there that says that the agreement has to be formalized with prior to the submission of the application. My alternative, the alternative I proposed was only because of some deadline concerns, but I think it can be accomplished. I think you can get a lawyer to prepare. We're not talking about a 50-page agreement. We're talking about maybe 3 or 4 sections that talk about essentially taking this and putting some more substance into that language.
I feel like other road commissions would have something like this because they're all tap applicators.
With that 30 days, that just would offer time for legal review on both ends.
We don't want to have the application withdrawn.
I think that was just my suggestion, but it seems like the consensus is that we really don't want to submit an application.
I say we approve it. We approve this resolution with the additional language here.
Yes. I'm okay with that.
And we are not going to submit it unless we have this agreement.
And we'll try to get the agreement to you before the East Bay Township's February 9th meeting.
A week before potentially.
Well, we'll have to figure that out. I don't.
Probably one day will
I
be
would
easier.
advise them to have a placeholder.
Yeah, I mean, we are trying the best we can, but East Bay Township has to kind of meet us somewhere in the middle as well. So
Someday we're going to have to address the fact that this takes up quite a bit of the staff's time. The manager has actually legally signs his name on it and fields a lot of phone calls for a driveway application. We want money. This is how much is this grant application going to be?
Still getting our final estimate, roughly $1 million.
There's a lot of
my question.
There's a lot of components that go into $1 million. I'm not saying now because we haven't spelled that out. I want to spell that out to our potential grant applicators.
I know, that's what I was saying.
What's the word? Applicants who would want to do this in the future.
Applicator is.
I would say
We
that
have an educator in
like to give eBay a chance to approve. I would like to approve this if we can, with the conditions.
Yes.
And if it can't pass, it can't pass. But somebody has to make a motion to that effect. Dan, you want to pipe in?
Yes.
Real quick before we make a motion, obviously this was all new to me. Obviously I'm supporter of the trails, not again, feel like you're not trying to say anything negative about it, but it was a big learning lesson for me doing this phase one. Was a big eye opener to me was the amount of paperwork I did have to sign. I mean, I could have bought a dozen houses over and signed less paperwork. But what the concerning, and I think they addressed some of it, but I want to make sure it does it when, I had to sign this. I'm in charge of the entire project. It's saying Dan Lockton is in charge of this whole thing. He's overseeing it. He's on the ground. He's doing this. It's almost like the manager of the road commission is just signing this paperwork as a pass through.
But you have the ultimate responsibility.
I don't see the design work. I'm not overseeing the people building it, but it's the way it's legally, even the SRL thing like it, so we know it's a pass through. I'm documenting some paperwork that I had signed for phase one. It's saying that I'm.
And that's why the hold harmless essentially.
That's why
did
that identification is so important. Yeah,
Right.
that's why it's so important.
I didn't know if it made sense to call the manager specifically of the road commission, not by name.
No, it says officers, employees, everything.
Dan Watkins is in charge of it.
That's all it reads currently. It just felt a little uncomfortable.
Do you understand and feel more comfortable with the language that was proposed tonight and
I'm
things
glad
like
that
that?
I'm glad it was brought up because
Okay.
I was actually going to bring that up. So it was nice to see the board beat me to the punch.
I was gonna bring up the administrative fee.
I'll make the motion.
Traditionally, wait a minute, traditionally, there's a 3 to 4% administrative cut on grants that we receive. We meaning grants I've dealt with in the past. So if I get $1 million grant, I usually get about 160 to 250,000 in administrative money kicked back.
So the TAP is strictly for construction.
You don't get any administrative costs covered on the TAP at all. None.
I mean, because we're taking, we're taking
Okay.
lawyers.
Because that's what we do to
Yeah,
help
damn time.
our bottom line. I'm talking about my job, not the road.
So that,
And we also share with our municipalities that our projects are in. To cover their like
Yeah.
Garfield Township or the city of Traverse City, they get money out of our administrative costs.
private money has covered all engineering, and that TAP would strictly, again, just be construction.
But construction includes construction engineering.
But
So there are
not-
professional fees in there.
Not in this case, no. We are covering construction.
I've always wondered about this because we've never brought up administrative and I thought, I kind of do this for a living and I've never heard about that, but no.
All right,
Okay.
let's see if we get them.
Well, that was worth
Yeah,
it.
that's,
I'll make the motion to approve the resolution 2026-01-01 Supportive Transportation Alternatives Program Grant Application, stating that the Grand Traverse County Road Commission will serve as the Act 51 applicant with the additional language as
In Appendix A.
in Appendix
Yeah,
A.
okay, appendix A.
That'll make it easier.
Okay, I'd support that.
Is there any further discussion? I was gonna keep these shorter, but it's important and it's supporting the people in our community.
Yeah.
It's important to the road commission. All right, let's have we need to.
I would do a
Yeah,
roll call,
roll call.
because you're
Roll
gonna,
call.
yeah.
Yep. Resolution.
it's a resolution.
Gilman,
Yes.
Chasm,
Yes.
Corn,
Yes.
Underwood,
No.
Lehman.
Yes.
So sassy.
Right.
All right.
And then just
Okay.
appendix B, just sample.
Before we move on, can I bring up one more?
Sure.
So as I look here, and it might not be what necessarily hard, but it shows a section here with future concept. They're showing picking up a trail there from Chartwell and moving that down to 4 Mile, roughly where the roundabout would be. We are discussing future plans of expanding that roadway there. I know we ran into a little bit of an issue here recently with 3 Mile down. So now we're seeing this for the first time. There's yet another conceptual project coming up. I think it's good to know that we are expecting to use most of that road right away in the future. So
I think they're contracting with Wade. Is it Wade Thermon? And I'm not sure if it's on the north or the south side, but I know they're looking to pursue not both sides, but.
Because we
We're
were
running out.
Well, you,
Right.
what you're gonna do, what you're gonna be doing is running them back to the light. It's one of the reasons, I actually supported that originally was because it stops the roundabout there. Okay, it honestly, it worked out well to eliminate the possibility of roundabout there, but we definitely needed to add that extra lane on the north side of Olson's there, and that's, so.
And that's the Safe Routes to School project.
Yeah,
There, so
yeah,
that's-
right, no, I know, but I mean, you've kind of got it tied into that to some degree.
It's all critical.
But yeah, we're definitely gonna be using some space there, and I'm not sure how much more right of way we have there. And that's gonna be an issue running up to, but that's the safe routes. That's, again, that's not your.
So, Mr. Chairman, can I have one comment? Sure. Phase 1 was voted on while I was unable to attend that meeting, and just for the record, I would have voted no on that one too.
I did vote on it.
So,
Yes.
That's it.
Good.
For the record.
Yeah, for the
and I'm
record.
gonna get bashed anyway, so I would have voted no on that.
Simply, and for the reason Elisa kind of alluded to, and we're talking about crossings and whatnot, or what's safe and what's not.
Yeah.
This, it crosses Vanderlip. We're talking, it might, Vanderlip might even be is that a 55 there?
it's a gravel road.
But it's a
Yeah,
gravel
it's a
road.
gravel
It's a gravel road.
Yeah, it's not.
It's not busy. I mean, 8 cars a day, that kind of thing. So,
Is it technically 55?
but I was really concerned, and I thought that the original phase 1 should have gone down to the light. That was my,
Reasonable foundation.
But we are very supportive of getting people off the road shoulders for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
you're speaking to us
Thank
about
you.
doing that, and that's exactly
He's building
what
property.
we would like.
And I've had the opportunity to go visit that area with the Conservancy, and it's really a beautiful, beautiful piece of property where the trails go to. So I think with kids and families being able to use that,
We got
it's
bobcat
going to
back
be
there.
We can
great.
plan a future ride together.
Yeah, that'll be
There are
great.
coyotes, there are bears,
And I
there are
was-
bobcats.
Ribbon.
Yeah,
I own the 38 acres right there. That was
Can we take a 5-minute break?
you have to go.
So wide.
okay. You're the chair.
TCI discussion.
Well, since I asked this to be on the agenda, a couple of reasons. First, if you all recall, when we decided to join the MPO, we put in a sunset clause in there that we were going to revisit that decision after we had an opportunity to be part of it. And we were able to assess what the benefits were going to be to the road commission as being part of the MPO. So that's one reason. And the second reason is really that I would like to know from a road manager whether being part of the MPO gives us advantage in getting grant monies for our projects. Does it help us? Because we're going to be working on a lot of road projects over the next few years. Will being part of the MPO assist us and help us in accessing those grant monies? I know that the Cass Road project is being funded through the MPO, or whether being part of it or not part of it is not going to impact us financially as we move forward on our different road projects. We are talking about, for example, case in point, we have been talking about extending Zimmerman Road. Okay, that's a regional kind of a project that would benefit not only Grand Traverse County, but could end up benefiting Leland County as well. And being part of the MPO, could that be beneficial to us as we apply for grants, as we seek funding for those projects? So really, that's what I want to know is, what are the benefits? Should we remain part of the MPO because it gives us financial benefits in the long term? Or are there disincentives? Are we losing some sources of funding as being part of the MPO? Or whether we can go forward with our projects without any real significant difference in our ability to fund those projects.
I asked Dan about these things and he talked to me about, based on what you had said last time, that there's sort of two components to this. One, we are an urban center now. And we get a certain amount of funding from this. It increased our per mile on our urban primaries and our urban locals substantially. And we're not going to be unurban. Another. It works.
Everybody
We get what you mean.
She's gone now, we're there.
We get it.
And that should continue to come from us. Then there's a certain amount of money that the MPO has control over. And if we're not within the MPO, we potentially couldn't get any votes for our projects. Right. And would you like to extrapolate on that a little bit?
Yeah, so we get the $1 million every 3 years. It rotates between ourselves, the city, and Leelanau. So I'm assuming if we dropped out, we would lose out that $1 million. So then we just go back and forth between Leelanau and the city. Something else is, like we're just doing those car counts and different things like that. We're looking at changing, the designation of our roads, different like primary, local, moving those things around. All that stuff has to run through the MPO now, and they vote on all those things. So if we weren't there, we wouldn't be able to probably vote on those and maybe plead our cases. Well,
That's
satisfied.
I'm sort of having extra government agencies and agencies reporting agencies is not my thing. Obviously, I'm a small business guy. So, but I see the way that the way the money comes in.
Yep.
It's structured a certain way, and unless we can restructure it to get our lawmakers to do something different, this is the way it is, and we have, because we became an urban area, a substantial amount of revenue that it really changed our revenue path.
Yeah.
On these roads.
That's what I wanted to know is, that it continues to benefit us. as
Now,
being
I
part of
think
it.
I spoke with another person in the MPO who has a vote. And they said sometimes the stuff is not very clear. Everybody comes to the meetings and they think somebody's informed and somebody else thinks, and it's all Greek and they say yes.
Yes, yes.
So
Yeah.
the management of the MPO might be something we should have further discussions about or input on. The Council of Governments, how did we automatically let them manage the MPO? And can you change managers?
Well, I don't know if it's Northwest Michigan, it's Northwest Michigan, right? That Networks Northwest, sorry.
They facilitate their hire.
Yeah, but they do the administrative functions. But as far as the TTCI board is concerned, really the decisions making, if I understand correctly, is done by the technical committee. And that was one of the questions I wanted to make sure. I know that Joe is our engineer of record. Does Joe attend those technical committee meetings?
Chris attends those. Sports.
Okay.
So the technical committee recommends the projects and it comes over to the policy. Committee.
Right.
Policy committee's on one, then we vote on it.
And my understanding is that the technical committee, because it's composed of engineers and who are the real people they make those decisions, recommendations, and those recommendations come to the board. And for the most part, the board adopts those recommendations because, again, at the board, we're talking about supervisors, commissioners.
They're not.
They are not engineers. They are not, well versed in the technical aspects of the project. So I think it's a technical committee that it's very important that we have strong representation on the technical committee, because that's where really the recommendations are made as to which projects.
That's where the projects come forward.
Yes.
Now, do those technicians, the technical committee, do they understand the community's needs and wishes? Or is it really technical stuff, like only where the traffic counts are the highest can we do these? What governs what the technical committee can recommend?
Should be in their long-term plan.
Yes.
Yeah, I've not attended the technical committee meeting because Dan, before Dan, I was the main appointee to the TTCI board. Wayne was the technical committee person.
Okay.
And then Brad was the alternate. Once Dan came over and then Dan became the main and I'm the alternate. And that's why I wanted to know that we still had someone who was attending the technical committee meetings. I don't know when Chris presents those projects, whether he's presenting it purely from an engineering viewpoint or whether he's taking a more holistic approach as to whether it's good for the community and those two things.
Well,
And part of our 5-year plan will identify those. Chris will just be the person that goes and.
The things we bring forward will come from our 5-year plan.
Yeah.
Not from a mysterious.
No, and that's why I think, and maybe, Dan, you can attend those technical committee meetings, right? I mean, you're not.
Yeah, anybody can.
And I can
They're open
attend
to
it
the
too.
public. You just.
I mean, we are.
Yeah, we are. I can attend it too. So once we have a 5-year plan,
Like here, you got.
yeah.
And voters.
Yeah, but
No, but we can stand up. If we have a 5-year plan and I attend as the commissioner and, there's discussion on a project, I can always stand up and I can say, well, this is why we think this project.
Public
is good.
comment. at the
Yeah,
technical-
yeah, it's
Yeah. I mean,
it's
it falls
notice
under
meetings,
OPA.
yeah.
Yeah.
For my technical question, do you need a motion to permanently become a member?
I would prefer. We do what we did before and go for 2 years or something like that.
Okay.
2 years versus 1 year.
So make a motion to continue for 2 years.
I would make a motion that we continue for 2 years,
Support.
being a member of the MPO.
I'll support it.
All right. Do we know when
guys.
do we know when when it actually
I
expires?
think in
Dan?
3 years because we're getting the money for Castro this year.
No.
So.
Yep, got it.
Okay.
I'd like to
Understood.
amend my motion to 3
We,
years.
not.
I'll support the amended motion. Yes.
Okay. Is there any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye. All right.
Thank you, Mike. Okay, Bill Burns, 457.
Yeah, so, in talking with MERS, they are changing their third-party administrator. They're moving away from Polaris over to Empower. And with that, we're gonna, be able to provide our employees with investment advisors, and they'll have different plan offerings and be able to select, you know,
They're gonna be able to move their,
stocks and
instead of just a bland or generic MERS accounts, they're actually gonna be able to direct.
so that's, we currently have a, 401A defined contribution plan and a section 115 healthcare savings trust plan. We get quarterly statements. Basically one statement shows the funds of each, plan, on that report. And they're changing their fee structures. They're going to a flat $10 per month per member, regardless of the number of plans you have. So, we would, if we adopt the MERS 457 plan, we basically would be going from 2 different plans to 3 plans on our statement. So the member's still going to pay $120 a year, regardless if we add a 457 or not. And the only incremental cost is they're currently adding 0.06% administration fee on the asset value in that account, which is very small.
Yeah.
For comparison,
$10,000 is $6.
we're currently at 1.65% with our current.
So
57
better
plan.
value than
Yes.
in numbers alone. Now, you know, if I'm MERS, this is a good idea for me because now this whole, we care here, we guarantee 8% or that, or we've historically provided 8%, which, you know, whatever. If they're just self-directed,
You can have self-directed, or you could have this traditional lifestyle funds if you're gonna retire.
I
at
think
30
it
years.
covers their butt a little better, honestly, if I'm MERS.
the-
It's good. I mean, but at a,
So the fees
the
are
savings
one thing,
does.
but the other big thing is the fiduciary responsibility. MERS is the only entity that assumes the fiduciary responsibilities, taking that off of us and putting it on them for administration of the plan. Because currently, right now, any other 457 plan, we are fiduciary responsible for, you know, selecting the plan offerings and even employees, and something goes south, it could come back.
So
on us.
your recommendation is that we.
My recommendation would be to switch to MERS. Right now, they're starting to go the transition. I think March 2nd is their target date on having like the blackout period. They currently have 5 or 6 other agencies ahead of us in doing this. So we didn't get any resolutions yet.
Well,
Right now, they just kind of wanted an indication if it's something we think we might do, they'll get the paperwork going and we could come back with the MERS resolution at a future meeting.
well,
It doesn't have to be done right now because of the timing of the.
yeah, but I think we can get ahead of this. Mr. Chair, I'd make the motion that we accept the financial manager's recommendation and approve the switching our 457 to MERS.
I'll second that.
That's what you wanted.
I was gonna say, I read through it and it was like phenomenal. That's a
The
phenomenal.
457 is what I have at my job, and if I leave my job, I'm allowed to withdraw the entire amount completely
penalty
for
free.
59 and a half, penalty free. And it is
Yeah,
one
I
of
learned
the,
about the 59 and a half rule.
it is one of
Really?
the best things that we can offer our employees as a special benefit to them for being a public employee. So
Outstanding.
I certainly support it.
And if there's a future resolution necessary, we're just gonna vote yes.
Yeah, we'll probably have to adopt a official resolution, but.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's vote on this resolution to do what, make a switch. All in favor?
All right.
It's a roll call.
Is
vote.
it? Yeah.
Oh, no.
No,
Yeah, it's not a rest.
Not a resolution. Okay.
It's a motion.
Aye.
Motion.
Aye.
Okay.
Aye.
I don't know these things. You guys have to continue.
No, you're fine.
I read through it and it's like,
Okay,
wow.
Bill, audit engagement letter.
Okay.
So I reached out to the dean down at the county, and this is the 3rd year of a 3-year agreement with
Okay.
Greenbelt Hafner. Peter Havener retired a couple of years ago, so last year was the first year we really had a different auditor, Mike. He was a little bit, a little bit of a learning curve, I think, took on a lot, but, the county is gonna continue to go with them. It'd be my recommendation to keep the same one. Auditor, it just makes it easier for them to roll up, our financials as a component unit into the county's annual report. He currently has us scheduled for April 20th. I'll be done way before that date, so maybe if something opens up,
And like
get started before.
they'll reach out to us and say, hey, you got any concerns about that crazy manager and that crazy finance manager? And
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to approve Ritterveld Hafner LLC for the 2025 audit.
Support.
Is there any further discussion? I think there's a certain amount of money attached, so we need to vote a roll call vote.
But this is just for 1 year, not 3 years. So.
This is
just for the final year.
The final-
And we're doing it
The county will
because
go
the
out
county's doing it the same.
RFP next year.
Yeah,
If-
I just wanted to make sure I understood.
I think they were really concerned a couple of years ago and it was good to kind of package it together.
Yeah,
So.
there was some savings.
Understood.
Roll.
Chasm,
Yes.
Corn,
Yes.
Underwood,
Yes.
Gilman,
Yes.
Lehman.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, the road tour is sort of my pet project, and I asked this to be placed on here. I would really like us to pick, not tonight, but come back next month with a date in April, a Saturday in April. You wouldn't mind spending 5 hours on the road in a bus. So it's however we need to do compliant public.
Mhm.
Somewhere we'll stop and get a box lunch. And I would like you to have ideas from your townships on things we should visit.
Is that just us?
In the past,
Could be
in the past, they've done this, they've invited townships and county board members.
Anybody who wants to come, although is somebody from Peninsula Township going to want to ride to all the
Yeah.
townships? I don't know,
I don't know.
but it's
warning.
yeah, and I think we can get the size bus we need based on a head count in advance.
Stopping at a pizza shop or something.
We did it when I was a county commissioner.
That's what I was
Yeah,
thinking.
we did it with the county board, the road commission, and like the staff, different staff.
And I know Saturday might be a problem, but I can't see it being done during the week. And,
Yeah, no, yeah.
and so,
Hopefully there won't be too much snow on the ground.
well, that's why I picked April.
I
Not
love
during
your
Trout
optimism.
Festival week, because apparently Trout Festival week, it always snows.
Yeah.
So just do it.
I don't know what we,
No, Saturday should be fine.
just look ahead and let's try to pick a date next month, please.
I did want to mention I will not be in attendance next month at our board meeting. And I have my last kid graduating from college the last week of April, so if we could avoid that. that'd be
Already.
Great.
Maybe this will turn into the first week of May, so we don't want to be where it snows.
What country is gonna?
I'm not gonna bet. Open meetings then.
All right, managers' comments?
Oh, we have to go to the closed. I'll make
yeah.
a motion to enter into closed session to consider a privileged communication from Attorney Hammond regarding the Quincy Garage facility pursuant to MCL 15.24818.
Support.
Motion made and supported to go into closed session. Do I have to roll call?
Yes.
Roll
Yeah,
call.
that's exactly.
Corn.
Yep.
Underwood,
Yes.
Gilman,
Yep.
Chasm,
Yes.
Lehman.
Yes.
All right.
Are we to manager's comments now? I guess we're trying to do.
Yeah.
Do we need a formal motion authorizing the manager to proceed as discussed in closed session? I think we should. And I'll make that motion. I'll make a motion to authorize the road manager and the finance manager to proceed as discussed in closed session.
I'll second.
And do I need a roll call?
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
Manager's comments.
All right. Had a pretty interesting meeting here this week. We talked about this a few times on and off, the Ramsey Road Bridge. I think I remember talking to you guys a while ago that, you know, funding had gotten pulled. It looks like funding is back on the table and we're moving forward.
Oh.
Is the one they're putting a box culvert in or? No, it's gonna be like a timber bridge. A timber bridge. Bridge. And the goal right now is if everything goes and funding's still there, we're looking at making like a September project.
Wow.
So,
Wow.
yeah.
Great.
Very nice.
That one is a no match on that. The only thing that we're providing is the engineering to oversee the project.
Cool. And that's, who are the funds coming through?
CRA was doing it.
But yeah.
Conservation. Rachel's Alliance.
Yeah.
Alliance.
Just a couple updates. The staff's moving really hard right now on planning for summer projects, all our roads projects, designing maintenance crews, figuring out where they're going to start high ridging, filling out what they're planning on doing for ditching, tree removal. So we're really getting a good plan together. We are truly a season ahead. We're ready for the snow to stop, you know, with our plans at least. Good. So we're in a good direction. Bids, all of our bids are going out here. Our February meeting, we will have a lot of bids to approve all of our materials, vendors, things that we're planning on getting through the year. That's kind of from here with that heads up. All I had for tonight.
Okay. Commissioners' comments and questions and future agenda items.
I have one.
Okay.
I was talking to Scott. I had a question for him that came up at my Blair Township meeting. You guys had mentioned the kind of massaging the numbers from the traffic counts to factor in the construction and that we were going to be able to publish them. So I asked him if we were able to publish those yet, so that our township partners could see them. I know Blair was really interested, but I think a lot of people are interested in seeing them. And also they could direct their constituents to them. And Scott said that there's an availability to be able to do that. I just have to obviously ask his boss, but is it something that we're ready to do? And if we aren't, maybe just give a timeline. I just think it's something that would be great to share with the townships.
I guess I've seen the CARCOM data and I've seen the PCI data, but I haven't seen them blended together yet.
Well, I asked him about the blending and he said that it wasn't time for that yet right away, but that we do have the car count data, which I think would be nice for people to be able to see. I brought it up 2 or 3 times just since we discussed it at the meeting because our numbers are from 2013. And I think that there's a lot of, you know.
And there's still gonna be. I mean, we've got so many roads. I mean,
Well,
Right.
we have an accurate count.
Yeah.
And we could share it with the
And we
public. They
can
pay
share it,
for it.
public information.
Yeah,
They
and they
pay
pay for it.
As soon as you can make it available, you'd like to see it.
Yeah, I'd like to be able to direct the township or them to direct citizens. I just think it's a good thing to share. If there is a situation with that, or Larry has something, or Scott has some input, that's for you guys, you know, you and your employees to decide. But I just have an interest in when it's able to share it with the public.
Just a couple circle backs here. Dan and I met with Beta to discuss bus stops. I do think they appreciate the feedback, kind of explaining what road commission's position is and why it's the way it is. They're gonna do a couple things on their account side and their thing, and then we'll get back together again sometime in the future. I don't know when that's gonna be yet. And the other thing that Dan and I did, is we had a meeting with the county administrator and on a couple of issues, and I'm looking forward to the next meeting, which will be with the city and a few other of the people that has to do with Whitener, so.
Yeah. Well, a couple things. I did pop up a couple things as far as potential policy, suggestions for the policy committee to look over. One of them being grant sponsorship, for an applicant, Act 851 agency. And then road acceptance, because I think we still need to have a policy for that. Non-motorized facilities and trails policy, and then indemnification, maintenance cost responsibility policy, which a lot of those were kind of interrelated, but if we had some of that may actually help us down the road when we're, even with policy, it's still to a degree, we can override policy and there is discretionary authority within the board. So I think we're still okay, but understood your question, appreciated it. Anyway, so that's the possibilities. Engineer, where are we for the search?
We have a interview on Monday.
Yes. Okay, good. Hopefully that goes well and they're sufficiently adequate. And the only other thing that I have is that in March, I think it's the 21st. Anyway, 21st, 23rd, whatever. I'm gonna jump in cold water. Do one of these polar plunge things for the Special Olympics.
Yeah.
Oh,
So if anybody wants my pledge page, they can. I'll get it to them. But yeah, it was. We were sitting in the real estate one at a real estate one meeting, and one of the other guys says, "Well, I'll do it if somebody else will do it with me." And he's of course very smug. Nobody's going to do it. I'm like, yeah, let's do this. So
If you did a dunk tank, you guys would kill. Like you would make so much money.
well, I've done
Dunk
I've done a dunk tank before, and it's really funny. You dream about all the funny things you can say to people. It's never funny. You really want to roast on people who are throwing balls at you, but no. So anyway, that's it for me.
Public comment? None? I want a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Yes.